Hi there. Here's a practice I did the other day when my low back and sacrum were feeling a little sore and stiff. So I just kind of moved around to try and make them feel a little more limber. Start by taking a few deep breaths, standing in mountain pose at the back of your mat. And when you're ready, drop your chin to your chest and slowly roll your spine down into a soft forward fold. Then lower your hips into a deep squat. With your hands at the floor, lean your knees into the backs of your arms and shift around. You can move front to back and side to side, just kind of checking out what's going on in your low back and sacrum, your hip area. If it feels good, you can lift your hands and come into a more upright squat, allowing your weight to sink down into your hips. And you're looking for some ease here. So if your heels are floating up off the ground and that feels like it's creating some tension in your body, you can place a cushion or a rolled up blanket underneath. Bring your hands back down to the ground and walk them out into downward dog. Once you're in downward dog, soften through one of your knees and take all of the weight out of that leg. You might let that knee kind of sway back and forth a little bit from side to side, just kind of allowing it to hang there. Try it a few times on both sides. And don't worry about keeping a good quote unquote downward dog form here. Widen your stance a little bit and then walk your hands back, lower your hips into another low squat. Place your hands on the ground and lean your knees into the backs of your arms again, finding movement back and forth and side to side here. If it's useful, lift your hands and get a little more upright. Then lift your hips up into the air and come into a soft forward fold. You can sway from side to side if that feels good. And soften everything and roll up slowly to standing. Once you're standing, take a few deep breaths and roll your shoulders around a few times in one direction and then the other. Just notice how you're feeling. Then very slowly roll yourself back down into a forward fold. Drop your hands to the floor, toe heel your feet out a little, and then come back down into your low squat, knees at the backs of your arms, just finding some movement again. Press yourself a little more upright. Bring your right hand over to the left a little bit, lengthen up through your back, and come into a twist, maybe starting with your left hand on your left knee, possibly reaching your arm up and back. Bring everything back to center and try it on the other side. Again, going slowly and step by step, really feeling into it, deciding what works best for you. Remember, this practice is about feeling what's going on, trying to make things feel a little better, not about making particular shapes. Bring both hands back down to the ground, knees to the backs of your arms. Lean in and find a little more movement. Press yourself back up into that more upright squat. Then bring your hands back down to the ground and walk out into downward dog again. And once you're in your downward dog, do the same thing we did before, where you take all of the weight out of one leg, bend that knee, kind of let it hang there, maybe moving it from side to side a little. Just letting that leg be heavy. And once you've done it on one side, do it on the other side. And try it a few times on both sides. When you're ready, walk your feet out to the side a little bit to widen your stance. And as you walk your hands back, lower your hips back down into your low squat. And you can try anything while you're here. I really found this leaning into my arms, just kind of shifting around, really useful. Maybe you take another twist, moving into it slowly. If you're in a twist, come back out and try it on the other side. Come back to center and make your way into child's pose. Whatever version of child's pose feels supportive to you right now. So first I tried it with wide knees, and I stayed there for a little bit and just kind of couldn't get comfortable. So then I came back up and brought my knees back together. And for me, that felt a little more supportive. But for many people, I know that's not great. So make a decision based on whatever feels right to you. And if child's pose is not a pose for you, find any kind of resting pose where you can just hang out for a little bit and breathe deeply and rest.